Liberia. My name is Prince Moba, and I'm here doing this interview. It's live currently, but it's also going to be played on 3 media institutions in Nigeria, West Africa. Let me say good morning. It's a pleasant morning, and welcome to this interview. How are you doing?
Thank you very much.
My name is Prince Moba, and I know you are popular on the social media, so you log in, Madam Davidetta, Browne, Lansana, people don't know you. But just 1 or 2 minutes, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, I'm Davidetta, Browne, Lansana, current chair of the National Elections Commission. But I'm also a mother of 2 girls and many relatives. I'm from Leone County, Liberia, and a former broadcast journalist.
Great. All right, so you conducted a process in Liberia, the electoral process in Liberia, that is now considered globally as free, fair, and transparent, where the incumbent president lost the election just a percent vote difference, a little 1% vote difference. In the African continent, on the African continent rather, this is not easily considered. I mean, how do you describe the process in the first place? How do you feel now? I mean, the commendation coming from all over the world, on social media, I'm sure in your inbox. How do you feel now?
I don't feel victorious. What I feel is that the National Elections Commission conducted free, fair, and credible elections in Liberia. And to do that, we put in place all of the mechanisms to ensure that Liberians were first registered as voters and to process them on elections day. People will commend you based on what they feel and perhaps based on which side they are for. I would like to think that commendation would be steered towards the process itself, how it not necessarily by one person, but all of our staff, those who are permanently employed with the Commission, as well as the temporary staff in the field. So any accolades for the Elections Commission goes to all of the staff of the Elections Commission.
Great. So what lesson can Africa learn from the Liberian scenario? Just ended on yesterday. The final results were announced by you yesterday. What lesson can Liberia, continent, African continent, merely the sub-region, learn from this Liberian case?
I think the greatest lesson is transparency of the process. The process is such that counting is at the polling place in full view of party agents and observers and the staff. Then the tally process is conducted again in full view of everybody, and then sent to the headquarters of the Elections Commission at the data center, where we had our staff as well as support from ECOWAS and the UNDP that had consultants in there. And on a regular basis, we have visits from different observers groups that ask about how the process was going. So I say this to say that once there is transparency of any process that you engage in, it's easily accepted by the citizenry of your country. And all election management bodies should strive for transparency. Part of our transparency was to project the results on projectors, normally where we use for PowerPoint presentations, those kinds of things, where in full view everybody sees what the results are coming from the polling places. And then of course, you see the interactions between the party agents, asking questions about how the tabulation of the results were, and then they are corrected if there are any issues, and then it's easily accepted. So all of us election management bodies should now put in place some of these mechanisms that the 10,000 plus observers have seen here in Liberia, so that their people in the country will feel a little more relaxed that they are also participating in the process. And at the end of the day, you announce the results.
Great. I love to ask you to answer your answer. The next question I want to ask Madam Chairperson is: Liberia was recorded in the Guinea Book of History when the 1927 elections was won by the then President, former Liberia's president. That election is considered as the most fraudulent election in history. Today, Madam Lansana has conducted a process where an incumbent, has considered, even before she announced or the commission announces the final result. What has changed in Liberia's border politics? What do you think has changed?
Firstly, at the Elections Commission, we had, as you have just said, we also had another period where election workers, commissioners, and what have you were put in a room to decide who the winner was. And I'm sure the result of that, there were some consequences to some persons as well as to the country for that kind of organization, which we know that it wasn't actually transparent. From there, I think Liberians learned a lesson, and supported by the regional and international community, to restructure how the commission would conduct elections in Liberia. So it's my understanding that the system we have now, the mechanisms put in place, we borrowed from other countries and to ensure that the Elections Commission was a better and more, not just transparent, but more independent in the conduct of elections as well as the announcement of the results. So I think we have moved from the period you explained, that which I said people were put in a room, to a more transparent, more open process, more participation of all stakeholders, and we are here now. It's a better process for the country. Democracy is at work. And in this light, without having to speak for anyone, I think generally throughout the world, everyone now knows that when the results reach a certain point, in terms of who gets what, in terms of which votes you get, and then you know the remaining votes that will be left may not be in your favor or so, even when the commission is still counting, and you come out and say, in essence, the other side has won. I think it's a good way to go.
Two more questions. Let me answer this one. Let me just follow. So, Madam Chairperson, do you think the October 10 and November 14 processes that we just concluded can be recorded or will be recorded in World Politically as a direct opposite of the November celebration?
It's possible. It's probable. Yes, this will happen. Because we who conducted the process, we are not the judge of this process. We take the commendations, but at the same time, historians will look back and they will be the one to judge posterity to know that they probably may be giving consideration to the conduct of elections in those two periods in Liberia and put them either against others. But the analysis can be done at any time in history, and what will come back to us may likely be a plus for our generations.
All right, so this is the final one, and now you close up. When elections are held on the African continent, the aftermath is what is concerning. We had the result announcement yesterday, celebration all across the country. But unfortunately for us last time, we saw about terrible news where there have been loss of lives of some citizens of Liberia that have gone to celebrate their own side. I mean, this is just the first incident after the aftermath, the pronouncement of the election. How you still got what to do, you had to go to inauguration, you got to certificate winners. What's the message of caution to Liberians? I mean, you conducted this process, you are convicted of what you've done, you said what is true. Even the president came out and said, look, we have to move forward for the sake of our democracy. I mean, how do you feel after you saw that video or listened to the radio this morning? What can you say?
I would say that what we have said from time immemorial, that we should be cautious of our behavior, such that, there was the Farmington River Declaration, where candidates subscribed to, committed themselves to ensuring there would be no violence, during the elections. And I think Liberians, even though there were pockets of violence here, I think we have done well. A part of cautioning ourselves is to say that when you are jubilating, you should do it in a way that you don't injure yourself and you don't injure other people. What has happened, I cannot say or judge or provide any information, maybe supporting or contrary. But we've heard in other instances that sometimes these things happen. And if they have happened like that, as you are narrating, then all of us need to be cautious, because the country needs everybody, to go to the next stage. And that next stage is to move the country forward in your individual capacity, as well as supporting, any administration that perhaps has been made to leadership in our country. And that should also work for other countries. But we also know that some things are natural. They may happen, not necessarily that someone must have been the reason for it happening. Sometimes it could even be out of carelessness that they happen. But we pray that all will go well. We want to focus here in the NEC on our next stage of planning. Firstly, the lessons learned. We want to be sure that we put in place the mechanism to get early funding for all of our processes, and that whatever support that we receive, the government will be able to give or render the commission to go after it. In this connection, we say thank you to everyone, including the international, regional, and local community, for great support to the electoral process in Liberia.
Thank you so much for giving us this time to have this interaction with us. So thanks for talking to us. So folks, this is how we come to the close of this very brief interview with Liberia's chairperson of the Elections Commission, Madam Davidetta Browne Lansana. We've spoken to her on how the process was very. She answered our question as yesterday. Thanks for speaking to us. We are glad. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.